Hi, already here. I am here today to show you the spruced up card making workshop. I have already cut all of my pieces. This does make 12 cards, for each of 3 different designs. You can see the designs here. It comes with an exclusive stamp set and die set. This is the stamp set. I've already done all my stamping. I will pop in a clip showing you how I line up my stamps in my die cuts, and these are the die cuts. So you get 4 die cuts to go with the stamps. So I will pop that in and show you how I did the die cuts. The other technique that's featured with these cards is using alcohol markers. We sell Spectrum Noir tri-blend markers, which are really cool because they have 3 colors that coordinate together that you can blend right in the same pen. So you don't have to go searching and trying to find colors that go together. Now, I don't have those markers. I've already invested quite a bit of money in Copics, and so I did all of my coloring with my Copics. So I'll also pop in a short little video clip showing you how I did the coloring and how I did the shading. I'll also show you the colors I used. So I will show you those 2 clips, and then I will come back and I will go ahead and put together all 3 cards on camera for you, and then I'll come back at the end and talk a little bit about what I thought of the cards and any tips and tricks I learned along the way. So enjoy. So I've got a lot of these individual pieces that I need to stamp. I've already die cut them all, so I've got all of my die cuts already done. So here's the ones for the flower arrangement, and I'm going to show you how I do this. So I cut everything out already with my dies, and I have found that you can do 2 pages at a time with your dies, so that kind of cuts your time in half. So that's really awesome. So I already did all the die cutting. So now I need to do my stamping. First, I'm going to get my stamps all seasoned by putting my skin all over them, and that'll just help the dye, the ink. And then I'm going to be Copic coloring. So my main part of all of my stamping is going to be Intense Black, which is a solvent-based permanent ink. It will not bleed or anything when you start using Copics on top of it. Now I'm also going to use some Julep, which is a water-based dye ink, but I'm only going to use that in some areas that I'm not going to be Copic coloring, because this is not a Copic friendly ink. Okay, so if you wanted to use any of our colors with Copics, what I would suggest you do is, there's a couple things you could do. You could get the pigment inks of the colors. You could get the pigment inks and then emboss them with clear embossing ink. Another thing you could do is go ahead and ink up with the colored ink, then ink over the top of it with something like Versamark, and then put clear embossing over the top of that. That is a few more steps, but that would save you if you did want to do your Copic coloring with a colored ink. Most of the time when I do my Copic coloring, I'm using Intense Black. It's just easy and it works fine. So let me show you. I save my negative space. So what I do is, and you do need to have a MISTI for this. I think it would be really difficult to do this without a MISTI or some other type of positioning tool. And so what I do is I put my negative space in just like that. Then I take my stamp and then I position my stamp, and this part sometimes takes a little bit of work to figure out which way it goes. I think it goes like this. Yes. Okay, so you position your stamp inside that little opening. I find for me, and this is a personal preference, for me it's easier to do my die cutting first and then to do my stamping. So put that on there. That's all ready to go. Then all I need to do is all my little pieces here, I'm just going to drop them in and find my same way. Here you go. Drop them in, nest them in there, and then they're ready. And when I stamp this, it's going to stamp it exactly in the right spot where I want it to be. Okay, so I'll do a couple of these. I don't think it'll, and you do the other ones exactly the same. All the other pieces, the little flowers, the vase, the banner, all of that. So, and we just get that all inked up. And you have enough paper that if you somehow get it in the wrong place, you can just die cut a few more. So I'll just show you that, and that looks great to me. So I'll do one more, show you how I do this. Nest that in there, ink this up. And I've got my little chamois. If I get any ink any place I don't want it, which I did. I remember when I got the Misty, it was expensive, and I didn't really want to get it because it was so expensive, because I tend to do that. And my husband talked me into it because I do a lot of things that I do, several of them. And he said, you know, it's a good tool. It will save you your time, and that's worth it right there. And he was absolutely right. Now, some of you who've been with me for a while know that several years ago, my mother-in-law was very ill. She unfortunately did pass away, but she was very ill, and so we moved from Colorado to Tennessee for about 5 months to take care of her while she was in home hospice. And I didn't bring a lot of my crafting supplies with me. I guess because I was kind of in denial and didn't think I would be here that long. And so while I was here, I bought a few things, a few staples to craft with, because that's how I deal with things, is crafting. And I bought a We Are Memory Keeper stamp press. And I have to tell you, I'm not getting paid for this. I'm not an affiliate. I don't get anything. But I have to tell you, the Misty tool that I'm using right now is just over and above in the quality, the ease of use. Everything about it is so much better than that one. Now, I think that one is off the market, so that one's not available anymore anyway. But I'm just saying that for me, I would always come back to the Misty. And this is the regular size Misty. I think they do have a larger one, and then they have a smaller one. This one works great for me because it's just the right size. It's exactly what I need. So I think you get an idea. I saved my negatives from my other dies that I'm going to be stamping. But I think you get the idea. So I'm going to send you back to the actual creation of the cards. And if you have any questions about this process, just let me know, and talk to you later. Okay, so when I'm doing coloring like this, it's just real simple. I'll just use a couple of different colors of each of the colors I'm going to use. So I've got 2 greens and then 2 red violets. So what I usually do first is I'll go over the whole part just in the lighter color. So in this case, G24 is what I'm doing what I'm starting my leaves with. So I just go in, and I'm not an expert colorer by any stretch of the imagination. So this is really simple. Just take your time. I do like the brush tips. I think they're easier to get into all the little small spaces. These are Copics. The Copics normally come with a brush tip on one end and then a wide tip on the other. Now I do have a small amount of the anniversary set edition, and those do have a bullet nib on the other end. But to tell you the truth, it's the brush nibs that I use most all the time. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish this, and you'll see I'm doing pretty good about staying in the lines. But if I go outside the lines a little bit, I don't worry about it. It's like I've said before, this is handmade stuff. It doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, do your best, but it doesn't have to be perfect. And if you really, if you really messed up and you need to get it off, try using the colorless blender. to push that color back into the area where you want the color to be. So we will finish this leaf, okay? And then I'll show you how I do just really light shading. So I'm using G28 for this. And what I do is everywhere on the stamp where I see that there's like some veins, I just put a little bit of that. Just a bit, just a dot. And so I'm going to go around, I'm going to do that just on the ones that have veins. Just a little bit, little dots on these. I don't bother with these. They do have a small veining, but they're so small, I don't bother with them. Okay, and then I come back with my G24 and just do one more layer on the ones where I put the darker color, and it just kind of blends it out. And that's pretty much it. I'll do the flowers next. I'll show you how I do the flowers. Get a little bit of this blended out. There we go. Okay, so I do the same kind of idea with the flowers. I start with my lighter color, and I'm using RV02. And I'm leaving these 3 little flowers just white. Just for some contrast. But what I do is if I have something like this to do, I just go around the edge. I don't worry. It's not, I know if you're doing like animal fur or hair or something, you do need to do your brush strokes in a certain direction so that it looks more realistic. But with flowers, I don't really worry about that. I just doing around the edges, and then once I've got my edges done, I just fill in the middle, just in circles. Really simple. And I'm just getting this light color down, and my pen is starting to get a little dry. I need to order a re-inker for this one. Okay. Then my darker color that I'm going to use for my shading is RV55. And what I'm doing on the flowers is I'm doing a little bit in the very center of each of these. Then what I'm doing is I'm just doing a really small outline around the petals where I feel like there would be a shadow, like one petal would be on top of another petal. And don't stress over this. It is whatever you do will look great. You'll be surprised how easy this really is to do. And then just putting a few more. And then just like with the leaves, I'm going to go back over it with the lighter color just to blend it out a little bit. So back with RV02, and I'm just kind of, doing circles or little, doesn't really matter because you're not going to see your brush strokes because they do blend really well. So I'm just blending that out a little bit. And the paper I'm using is just our White Daisy. I'm not using anything special. The ink that I used is our pigment ink. Our solvent ink, Intense Black, so that it doesn't bleed. And so that's my finished coloring. And I always like looking at the back. I think it looks so pretty. It's almost like watercolor on the back. So that's the coloring. Okay, these turned out really nice. I really like these. It's always nice to have cards like this in your stash, just in case you need them. And I forgot to show you that these do come with a good supply of the julep glitter gems. They're really sparkly. So there's the first one, and they're all blank inside. And ignore my phone. And there's another one. And then here's the third one. So I think they turned out really cute, and I think they can be used for a variety of reasons. Definitely these two would be really good to have on hand because you never know when you're going to need those. And this is always nice just to send for no reason whatsoever. Just send it and make somebody smile. So I hope you like these. If you have any questions about this kit or about any of the techniques I used or supplies I used, I forgot to say this is the thin 3D foam tape. But just leave me a comment down below. I'll be more than happy to get back with you. Thanks so much for watching. And if you're not already a subscriber, it'd be great if you could subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. Have a great day.